محمد وآل محمد صلوات. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, we should be starting tonight's program where we are commemorating the Shahada of our beloved Syeda Zaynab alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. With the recitation of the Holy Quran, I would like to call upon Brother Shayan to come and recite Quran for us with aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي هجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Jazakallah Brother Shayan. Inshallah, I would like to call upon Brother Ahmed to come and present his marfiya with Allah salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. लाशे पे ज़ैनब रो के पुकारी भैया हमारा कोई नहीं लाशे पे ज़ैनब रो के पुकारी भैया हमारा कोई नहीं खैमे जले और सज्जाद कैदी कफनी तुम्हारा कोई नहीं देखो ए भाई मैं ज़हरा की जाए لاشیں پہ آئی ہوں بے پردہ ہو کر، مارا گیا ہے عباس غازی، قاسم دولارا کوئی نہیں، بے کس یتیموں کا قافلہ بھائی، تو ہی بتا دے کہاں لے کے جاؤں، لاشیں سنبھالوں یا کنبے کو دیکھوں، غم کا کنارہ کوئی نہیں، کریل جوان کی میت ہے آئی، کہتی ہے لیلا اے میرے اکبر، کس کی نظر تم کو کھا گئی ہے، میرا سہارا کوئی نہیں، بولی یوں رو کے زہرا کی جائی، کرب و بلا میں گھر لٹ گیا ہے، مارا گیا ہے اب میرا بھائی، وارث ہمارا کوئی نہیں، غم کی کہانی کس کو سناؤں، بھیا ہمارا تم بھی چلے، سجاد بیمار ہم ہے قیدی، وارث ہمارا کوئی نہیں، لاشیں پہ زینب رو کے پکاری، بھیا ہمارا کوئی نہیں، خیمے جلے اور سجاد قیدی، کفنی تمہارا کوئی نہیں، صلوات
Mohammed وعجل فرجهم جزاك الله Brother Ahmad. I would like to call Brother Hassan Bhai to come present his Marthi out aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
ایک قطع اور مرثیے کے چند اشعار، ایک مرتبہ دودھ پڑھ دیجیے محمد آل محمد۔ قلب حمزہ بھی اور جعفر تیار بھی ہے، قلب حمزہ بھی اور جعفر تیار بھی ہے، غیظ آ جائے تو عباس علمدار بھی ہے، وقت کی بات ہے پابند رسن ہے ورنہ، وقت کی بات ہے پابند رسن ہے ورنہ، دختر بنت نبی حیدر کرار بھی ہے، درود بر محمد۔ سلامی سلامی کہتے تھے زینب کو، سر حسین نب کو سلامی کہتے تھے آدھا حسین امام قرآن میں کیا تھا جی سے شہید وہ خون بھرا ہوا خنجر دکھاؤ زینب کو سلامی کہتے تھے آدھا نہ نکلے خیمے سے باہر جو دختر زہرا کے ہاتھ اسے کھینچ لاؤ زینب کو سلامی کہتے تھے آدھا جکڑ کے لائے ہیں خیبر شکن کی بیٹی کو خدا کے واسطے لوگوں بچاؤ زینب کو سلامی کہتے تھے آدھا چھپا کے بالوں سے منہ کو یہ بولی بنت علی خدا کے واسطے لوگوں چھپاؤ زینب کو سلامی کہتے تھے آدھا کہا یزید نے جب شمر سے سر دربار کہاں ہے دختر زہرا بلاؤ زینب کو سلامی کہتے تھے آدھا بلاؤ زینب کو انیس اہل حرم میں بپا ہوا ہمیشہ کہا جو حاکم اضلاع
Jazakallah, Brother Hassan. I would like to call upon Brother Kumail to present his Marthiya Talawat Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.
محمد و آل محمد صلوات. پری محمل سے جب پہلی نظر بھائی کی تربت پر زمین پر گر گئی زینب. پری محمل سے جب پہلی نظر بھائی کی تربت پر زمین پر گر گئی زینب. کفن کی یاد پھر آئی, کفن کی یاد پھر آئی, جو دیکھا لحد کا منظر تڑپتی رہ گئی زینب. پری محمل سے جب حسین اکبر کے لاشے پر گیا جس طرح خیمے سے, بہن یوں گٹھنیوں چل کر لحد کی سمت بھرتی ہے, اٹھی تو گر پری پھر سے, اٹھی تو گر پری پھر سے, نہ چل پائی وہ قدموں پر, نہ پھر سے اٹھ سکی زینب. پری محمل سے جب پہلی نظر بھائی کی تربت پر زمین پر گر گئی زینب. لپٹ جاتے ہیں بچے جس طرح مادر کے سینے سے, بہن اس طرح لپٹی تربت شبیر سے ہائے, پکاری قید خانے میں, پکاری قید خانے میں, تیری بیٹی کو دفنا کر اجر کے آ گئی زینب. پری محمل سے جب پہلی نظر بھائی کی تربت پر زمین پر گر گئی زینب. صدا مقتل میں دیتی تھی پھوپھی سے ملنے آ جاؤ, میرے مظلوم اصغر مجھ کو چہرہ ہی دکھا جاؤ. کہاں ہو اے میرے قاسم, کہاں ہو اے میرے قاسم, کہاں ہو اے علی اکبر, بلاتی ہے پھوپھی زینب. پری محمل سے جب لرز کر رہ گئی عباس کی تربت بھی دریا پر مسافر شام کی روئی سرہانے جس گری آ کر کہاں عباس دیکھو تو کہاں عباس دیکھو تو بہن کو مل گئی چادر مگر میں نہ رہی زینب پری محمل سے جب پھر اجری ماں نے جوڑے ہاتھی ماں میں وقت کے آگے کہاں سجاد خالی ہاتھ ماں کو گھر بھی جانا ہے اجازت ہو تو اب رو لوں اجازت ہو تو اب رو لوں ذرا آنو محمد پر کہ ان کی ماں بھی تھی زینب پری محمل سے جب پہلی نظر بھائی کی تربت پر زمین پر گر گئی زینب محمد و آل محمد صلوات
Jazakallah, Brother Comment. Inshallah, without further ado, I would like to request our respected Hajj Muhammad Abbas to come and present his lecture with aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
محمد وعجل فرجهم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. My respected elders, respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. وعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بمولاتنا وسيدتنا Zaynab Salamullah alayha. We send our condolences to the heart of our present Imam on this very sad occasion where we have gathered to remember the demise anniversary of Syeda Zaynab Salamullah alayha. Inshallah, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this gathering of ours is a source of taqwa for us both in this world and in the hereafter. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. I'd also like to use this opportunity, inshallah, to remember all our marhumin, those who have already embarked on this journey to the unseen world that we all, inshallah, we will follow soon. And on that note, we'd like to remember our marhumin. Particularly, we want to remember the respected father of Brother Asad, the father-in-law of Razabai, and of course, all our marhumin. His name is Marhum Munawwar Ali, son of Hassan Ali Bande Ali. Inshallah, we can recite a Surah Al-Fatiha for his soul and for all our marhumin. Rahimallahu man qara al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The topic that we have prepared for your respected selves tonight, my brothers and sisters, is titled Extending Modesty to the Online World. We had previously spoken about modesty offline, and we had used Sayyidah Zaynab Salamullah Alayha as our role model. We had gone quite in depth in the topic of modesty, both for males and for females, the concept of hijab in Islam. And today, inshallah, we want to try and extend that concept to our lives online. And inshallah, to do that, in the time that we have allotted, we want to try and answer 3 questions, inshallah. Number 1, how powerful is the online space? So when we are talking about the online world here, we are particularly referring to the social media platforms. So the first question is, how powerful is the social media platforms that we are all exposed to? Number 1. Secondly, does Islam have any guidelines that Islam has set for you and I to be able to practice modesty in our lives in the online space? Secondly, and the third question that we have is, how does one maintain and practice modesty online? So inshallah, let's go to the first question very quickly, which has a very straightforward answer. How powerful is the online space? The short answer is, it is extremely powerful. But I've just prepared a few stats, some statistics for us to just try and refer to this point that we are making. So very quickly, we can all find this online to just know how powerful this online space is, how powerful is social media. The reason why it is so powerful is because of the number of people who are actually using it. We don't have any sort of technology today out there. We don't have any activity that is such large scale, that has such a global reach as usage on the social media platforms. So these stats that are available online, about 58% of the world's population are on social media platforms. 58%. So for example, if you were to assume that there are 8 billion people today, half of them, more than half of them, are utilizing social media. The average, we're talking about how powerful this is. The average daily social media usage around the world is 2 hours and 27 minutes. So 2.5 hours of an average person's day is spent in social media. 7.3% of the average person's life will be spent on social media platforms. Considering we spend about 30% of our lives sleeping, we've added another 7% to that, spending time on social media platforms. The average person who has a social media account also has accounts on 6 or 7 other social media platforms, which we know the names, okay? And increasingly, these rates are increasing. This is as per December 2023. A little less than 5% of these users of social media platform are diagnosed as addicted to the usage of social media, which is another topic on its own, a very serious topic. So just to highlight the importance of social media, how powerful it is extremely powerful because of the global reach that it has. Question: what does social media influence? How does it affect us? What does it change? Again, very quickly, very briefly, it affects a lot of things. One of the things that it influences, my respected brothers and sisters, sometimes either we realize this or sometimes we are naive to this, is the way we go about our shopping. So consumer choices is highly influenced by these social media platforms. In fact, as of 2023, there was a statistic that says that there are huge corporates, these multi-billion-dollar corporates, that are heavily investing in social media influencers, the celebrities on social media platforms, for them to be able to extend their reach to a wider global audience. So there are certain individuals on social media platforms that are called influencers. These are the celebrities on social media. Because they have such a global reach, they've got such a far reach, there's so many people who are following them and have subscribed to their channels. Global, huge corporates are spending a lot of money to these people so that they can gain access to these people's followership. So the statistic in December 2023 was the total revenue that these huge corporates are spending was put into $21.1 billion. What does that mean? We don't understand what $21.1 billion is. But the scary part is, or the mind-boggling statistic is, that this amount of revenue that has been spent has tripled in 4 years. So when the same revenue was compared in 2019, it was about $6 billion. So we can see how quickly this is growing. So how social media influences is consumer choices. What I buy, what I wear, what glasses I wear, what car I drive, what food I eat, what gym I go to, what exercise routine I adopt, all has been influenced by social media. Number one. Number two, beliefs and values. What value system do I carry is largely influenced by social media. What belief system I have is largely influenced by social media. And quite interesting, my respected brothers and sisters, they have termed, generally there is a term for each generation. So there's a generation that has a term before mine. My generation is called the millennials, for example. The generation that comes after me is called the Generation Z, the generation that has actually grown up into the social media platforms, right? So there was a generation before us, maybe our respected brothers, our older brothers and sisters here, that when they wanted to find out something, they would pick up the phone and ask somebody a question. So there was this one-to-one interaction. Then perhaps during my generation, they coined the term Googling stuff. So we stopped asking people directly questions and we were more reliant on Googling. Whether this is right or wrong, obviously that's not what we're commenting on, but just the change. And then you have the Generation Z who now look for short clips or shorts or videos to answer the questions. So reading for this Generation Z has gone out the window. And a lot of their values and their belief systems are influenced through social media platforms. And the way these platforms work, subhanAllah, it's quite interesting, is they call this, there's this filter balloon that they call it, or an echo chamber. An echo chamber, meaning whatever belief system I already have, the way the social media has been planned and designed is that whatever I am searching for in social media already will begin to align to the views that I ascribe to. So if I have a false belief system, what I will see online will consolidate and precipitate the beliefs that I already have. Right? So today, for example, in the current conflict that we are in, if there are supporters who are pro-Israel or pro-Zionism, on their social media platforms, all they will see is content supporting the cause that they're currently standing for. This is called an echo chamber in the social media platforms. It just echoes whatever values and belief systems I already hold. So social media is not necessarily out there, the platforms, to educate one about whether your beliefs and views are correct or not. No, we just want you to continue espousing the views that you already have. So this is the way it influences our beliefs and our values as well. Our perception of beauty and wealth and self-worth, right? So I don't want to go into this too much, but the way these platforms work, our younger brothers and sisters will be able to relate to this a lot, is there's this process of self-validation, that when I post something, the way the systems work is I almost automatically will now look for whether I was validated by my peers. Did I get a like? Did I get a retweet? Was there a share? Was there a love emoticon that was out there on my post? So we are automatically looking for self-validation. And with this there's so much research that's been done about this. It's called, there's a dopamine effect that results. A dopamine effect is the pleasure sensor in my brain that whenever something good happens to me, there's dopamine that's released, and this becomes very addictive. I constantly seek it. It's like eating chocolate. This is the effect that chocolate has. This is the effect that any addiction has as well. There's a dopamine effect that happens in my brain. So this is the effect that social media has as well. Again, my respected brothers and sisters, what we expose ourselves to, especially on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, these are very heavily and carefully curated images. So when a female puts out a picture of hers online, we're not talking about Muslims or non-Muslims here, just generally, inshallah, Muslims are very modest, but generally, it's very carefully edited so that they look and they maintain a certain standard of beauty. Now, when our respected, innocent young sisters would look at this, automatically the effect that this has is they begin to compare their beauty with the beauty that has been shown on these social media platforms. So, there's another study out there about how this affects a person's self-worth, especially amongst our sisters, especially amongst the females. They're just not happy with their bodies because of what is already out there. Very quickly, I'm just showing how social media influences us. Again, our decision-making processes as well as our attention span. So, the take-home from this first slide, my respected brothers and sisters, that social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, which is the fastest growing online platform at the moment, are extremely powerful in influencing different areas of our life. Question: has our divine religion provided you and I with a criteria which we can use to navigate through this platform, very powerful platform that we are exposed to? It is a divine religion. It is supposed to cater for all our needs. It is supposed to be catering for every time that we live in. Our religion must be relevant in every era until the day of judgment. Question: does Islam provide a criteria? To answer this question, if you can please help me with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajam. So the question is, what guidelines has our religion given us for us to be able to, in a very healthy way, both physically and spiritually, be able to navigate through these platforms that are available to us? We need to go back to the life of the Holy Prophet of Islam. Before the Holy Prophet of Islam, the age was called Ayyamul Jahiliyyah, the period of ignorance. There was one platform which was equally powerful at that time. The platform we have today is social media, extremely powerful. There was a platform at the time of Rasulullah, pre-Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, which was extremely powerful. What platform was that? That was poetry, shi'r and shu'ara. Poetry was extremely powerful at the time of the age of ignorance and at the time of the Holy Prophet Islam. What was poetry used for? Poetry was used to incite violence. It was used to instigate wars. It was used to support tyranny. It was used to praise oppressors, and so on. It was used to inflate one's self-worth. This was poetry. Extremely powerful. People could not read or write, but they could relate very easy to poetry. It was extremely powerful. Shu'ara, the poets, who are the influencers of that time, we're trying to use the same terminology, who are the influencers of that time, were the most famous people at the time, were being promoted, were being sponsored, had the biggest following, had the most number of likes, poets. So, there was a platform at the time, pre-Rasulullah, and during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, that was extremely powerful in influencing the masses, in influencing the way people would make decisions and choices, in influencing people's decision-making process, in influencing people's values and their belief system. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Makkah and realized the power that poetry had, and recognized this very powerful tool that was in the hands of the individuals, Rasulullah said, you know what, we're not going to reject this absolutely. So Rasulullah did not reject poetry. At the same time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not open-handedly accept all of poetry. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam demarcated a line, set out a criteria for people to be able to use this powerful tool. And this is the message for us. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. So, what are the criteria that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought forth? Before I go into that, my respected brothers and sisters, because poetry was such an in thing there, it was the stuff that was most trending, the shu'ara, who are the poets, were mostly talking about those things that people like to hear the most. So the topics that perhaps were not very necessary to discuss, were not very educational, were not very practical, but that was what most of the people liked to hear. They stuck to themes that people could relate to at the time, that people love to listen to. So the main themes that were discussed in poetry pre-Rasulullah were WWW. That is women. So women through poetry were being objectified. We love to look at that. We love to listen to that. We love to read about that. Number one. Number two, at the time people loved war. So that's the second W. And the third, people loved wine. So most of these poems at the time, pre-Rasulullah and to Rasulullah's time as well, had these three themes. These were the most trending themes. So if there were hashtags at the time, these were the three things that would have the most hashtags. At the same time, these poets who stuck to the hottest trending things at the time had the biggest following. So the poets were also very famous. In today's time, let's try and bring a parallel to today's time. Who are the people who have the greatest following on social media platforms? So I did a quick search, and I'm not going to give my comments or opinion as to whether this is right or wrong, but I'm just trying to draw a parallel to a very strong platform that was used at the time of Rasulullah to a strong platform now. The poets at the time who are talking about things that were most relatable to people, the hottest items at the time, women, war, and wine, had the greatest following. Do we have an example in today's time? So I did a quick search as to who are the most followed celebrities on social media today. If we take Instagram, for example, I'll just give you maybe 10 seconds to try and maybe jog your memories. The younger brothers and sisters who are very into these things, who know what we're talking about, right? So this is the results that you get, and this is obviously was a very quick search. So I'll just quickly, won't read the names names are not important. But let's see what do these people espouse? What are the values that they stand for? What are the principles that they have? So number one, a footballer, a singer, reality TV star, an actor, a singer, a reality TV star, a singer, reality TV star, and a TV star. These are the 10 people who are most followed on Instagram. You know what the Quran says? Quran has a whole chapter on poets. Surah Al-Shu'ara, Surah number 26. Quran says that at that time, these poets, who are those who are following them most? This is the ayah, وَالشُّعَرَاءُ يَتَّبِعُهُمُ الْغَاوُونَ. Those poets as well, who had these common themes of wine, women, and war, had the greatest following. But who are those who are following these poets? Al-Ghawun. Who are Al-Ghawun? Those that had not found their purpose in their life. Those who didn't know what their purpose in life was. Those who had derailed from the path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had designed for them. Question. these number of followers that we have, 620 odd million, 616 million, who are these? What values do they espouse that they're actually following these individuals? Do these values that these people that are following these particular celebrities, do they align with Islamic values or not, is the question, right? So at the end of the day, the message from this is the number of followers that a person has does not mean anything when it comes to Islam. It absolutely means nothing. Why? Because the values that this person is actually following, when I follow somebody and I subscribe to his channel, it simply means that I am supporting and I'm accepting the cause and the values that you stand for. So Islamically, this means nothing. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam recognized that this is a very powerful tool, but we can't reject all of it. We cannot accept all of it. What did Rasulullah do? He set a criteria for which people could use poetry. The first criteria that Rasulullah set, he says that whoever wants to use poetry, whoever wants to post a comment, whoever wants to post a picture or a photo, whoever wants to bring about a short or a reel, it needs to meet this criteria. The first one is that it needs to reflect what is real. It needs to be real. As a content producer, you need to produce what is real and not what's fake. What is original and not what is artificial or superficial. One of the greatest influencers of the time, was a person called Labid ibn Rabi'a. He was the most famous poet at the time of Jahiliyyah. So today, in today's words, the greatest influencer. If he was existing today, huge corporates would have invested heavily in him because he had the greatest following. A very powerful poet. He was so powerful that, at that time they would advertise the greatest posts, the greatest poems. So they would stick them and hang them on the Kaaba. The poems that were best liked, had the greatest number of likes, were posted onto the Kaaba. These were called Mu'allaqat al-Sab'. We're talking about how powerful poetry is. Out of the 7, Labid had 2 that were his. That's how good he was. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came and realized how influential Labid was and how much of a how much of a reach that he had in Makkah and Medina, he began training Labid. And he began changing the values that Labid espoused. After a while, Labid became a Muslim, converted to Islam, seeing the beauty of Islam. Labid then composes poetry. And there is one shi'r, one couplet of Labid that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam put his stamp of authority on. He said, the most truthful poetry that has ever been written are the lines of Labid, where he says, Ala kullu shay'in ma khalallahu batil. Look what Rasulullah is liking, my respected brothers and sisters. Look what Rasulullah is retweeting. Look what Rasulullah is sharing. As a content producer, does my content reflect what is real? As a content consumer, am I supporting what is real? Very powerful. So Rasulullah says, Ala kullu shayin ma khalallahu batil. This is the words of Labid. Labid says, verily everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is perishable. Wa kullu na'imin la mahala lahu za'il. And all bounties inevitably, unconditionally will vanish. Rasulullah puts the stamp of authority on this. I like it, I will share it, I will retweet it. Right? This is what he endorsed. So the first criteria, my respected brothers and sisters, is that whenever we are using these social media platforms, according to Islam, we need to go after that which is real. Not artificial, not fake. Quran clearly says, وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. When you speak words that are absolute truth, absolutely accurate, absolutely reflection of reality. And we extend that principle to our lives in the online space. And one of the first criteria is a reflection of what is real. So the message that I want to get out, especially to our younger brothers and sisters, at times it's very disheartening where we are very quick to like certain comments, to share certain posts, and you wonder, how on earth are you liking this particular post? How did you share this particular post? Didn't you give it a second thought before you did it? Right? So we've got to make sure we follow this criteria. The second criteria, my respected brothers, if you can help me with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Umma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraj. The second criteria that Rasulullah set out for this very powerful platform that was in existence at the time was that whatever you produce or whatever you consume as a poet, it must promote the truth. It must support the truth. In contrast, you stay away from anything that's false, anything that is deceptive. You are always on social media platforms. Your intention is to progress the message of truth. I want to promote what is true. I'm not there to promote myself. This is very important. So, Abu Zar at the time of Rasulullah, Abu Zar, I think if he was here today, I think his account would have been suspended. Because he was one person who could not just keep silent when something wrong was happening. So he comes to Rasulullah and says to Rasulullah, can I go and recite ayat of the Quran in the Kaaba, next to the Kaaba? You know, at the time the Kaaba was the stronghold of the idolaters. There were idols there, right? And there was poetry hung on the Kaaba as well. Quran comes and surpasses any poetry. Quran is not a book of poetry, but Quran showed these people what was superior, what was divine. So Abu Zar comes to the Holy Prophet and says, I want to promote the truth. Do you endorse it, Ya Rasulullah? Yes. What you are going to recite next to the Kaaba reflects reality, criteria number one. Secondly, it is promoting the truth. You are not going out there to the Kaaba to talk about yourself, to show off yourself, to show others how good you are, or what car you drive, or what achievements you had. No, that's not the reason you're going out there. So Abu Zar goes to the Kaaba and starts reciting ayat of the Quran. And this was the norm of the Arabs at the time, that whenever they would hear the Quran, they were so prejudiced and biased against the Quran. His Quran says, يَجْعَلُونَ أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ. As soon as they would listen to the Quran, they would put their fingers in their ears. Today, for example, if someone is standing for the truth, straight away you want to block him, you want to unsubscribe, unfollow. This is what they were doing to Abu Zar. Abu Zar starts reciting the ayat of the Quran. After a while, he comes back to the Holy Prophet. In what state did he come? He was wounded, he was bruised, he was bleeding. This is not the conversation that happened between Rasulullah and Abu Zar, but I'm just trying to extrapolate that Rasulullah is saying to Abu Zar that you went onto this platform trying to promote what was real, things that reflected reality, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You went there to promote the truth. You didn't go there to promote yourself. You went there knowing that your comment and your post and your clip and your reel and your short would anger certain people. That you will lose followers. That your account will be suspended. Yet you did it. You know what Abu Zar says to the Holy Prophet? This is part of the conversation. Abu Zar said, can I go back tomorrow and do the same thing? This is a very powerful platform, right? So Rasulullah would promote such things. First and foremost, the criteria is it has to reflect reality. The second is you go out there to promote the truth. We are not going out there to promote ourselves. And this is another thing, my respected brothers and sisters, that we got to be very, very wary about. And we got to be wise about this as well. We need to be insightful in our dealings on social media. How many people do we have who, in the garb of being Islamic, in the garb of being religious, promoting religious values, when it actually comes to the crux and standing for the values that Islam espouses, how many times these people have failed? When they have their sponsors and when they have their following, knowing that if they were to just voice out against oppression, they would lose all their followers, they would lose all their sponsorships, they would lose all their endorsements, they are silent. So what did I have my social media platform for? Was I promoting the truth or was I promoting myself? But I did it in the garb of being religious. We got to be very careful about this, right? So this is something, inshallah, that we can be more alert about in our dealings in social media. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farq. And the third criteria, my respected brothers and sisters, that Rasulullah established at the time in using this powerful platform is make sure you use your social media accounts on the principles and values and beliefs that you stand for. Do not use social media on the beliefs and practices and values that are imposed upon you. This is very important. Meaning, I have my moral compass as a Muslim, as a follower of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, as a respectful individual. I have my moral compass. I have my principles. My religion has shown me what is right and what is wrong. My social media accounts need to reflect these principles and not the principles and values that are currently there out there. And this is specifically for our younger brothers and sisters between the ages of, let's say, 13 years to about 20 years, who have actually grown up in social media. That there is no standard for a moral compass at the moment. There is no standard. For you and I, my respected brothers and sisters, maybe the older brothers and sisters as well, you have been able to see a change and degradation in morality over time. You have seen how moral standards have changed over time. But for our younger brothers and sisters, when they go straight to social media and they see how people present themselves, how men and women dress, how men and women interact, and how they speak, and the vulgarity in the language, they do not know any better. For them, this is the standard. And therefore, they begin to like and support and follow the current existing standards. Therefore, the hadith says, Badiru awladakum, rush to train your children with the right Islamic principles before these other social media influences come and influence your children. Badiru awladakum, make it an urgent need that you train your children to the right principles of Islam, and let that reflect when it comes to their dealings on social media. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So there was a poet at the time of Rasulullah by the name of Hassan ibn Thabit. Hassan ibn Thabit converted to Islam at the age of 60. He was somebody whose poetry was all WWW. Right? Why was it all WWW? Because he did not have a moral compass. Whatever he held within himself reflected in his social media accounts, reflected in his poetry. So what Rasulullah, after he converted to Islam and Rasulullah began to purify his morals and his belief system, and he began to realign his life according to the lifestyle of Rasulullah, at the time of Ghadir, Rasulullah says poetry is extremely powerful. Why don't you compose couplets in praise of Imam Ali alayhi salam? A person who had very contaminated and corrupted values, whose main theme around his poetry was everything un-Islamic. Once he began to reset his values and his belief system, it reflected in the quality of his poetry. The message that we get out of this, my respected brothers and sisters, is that Rasulullah says, with this powerful platform, you don't accept all of it. You do not reject all of it. There must be a criteria by which we all use it. One of those first criteria was whatever we post or whatever we consume must reflect reality, number one. Number two, we must be out there to promote the truth. If we simply have accounts where we are not promoting the truth, we are not using this powerful platform. In fact, there's a book by Sayyid Ali Khamenei that I just recently got hold of. He's talking about the need for Muslims to get onto social media accounts and use the online space to clarify the misunderstandings that are there around Islam, as an obligation, as a social obligation for all of us to be active, to share to share the messages that Islam espouses to. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala wa ali Muhammad. So the first point that we spoke about is how powerful is social media? Very powerful. Is there a criteria that Islam has set? Yes, there is a criteria, because there was something similar at the time of Rasulullah. Coming to the third point, my respected brothers and sisters, is how do we extend modesty when it comes to our online interactions? The challenging part is, and I think I already exceeded my time, I lost track, but inshallah we can continue this very important discussion in the next session, inshallah. The challenge that we have on the online platform, my respected brothers and sisters, look at the way we are seated here and in all Islamic centers, that we have the brothers on one side, we have a partition, and we have the sisters, right? When we go out and we go and eat, the brothers would eat on one side, the sisters would eat on one side in a very pure Islamic manner. When brothers and sisters want to get to know each other for marriage, for example, the authorities or the community leaders will provide a pure atmosphere for them to get to know each other. This person's family knows about it, the girl's family knows about it, and it's a very healthy way to start off a relationship. This is the way we interact when it comes to the offline world. The moment we get onto the online platform, there is no partition. Absolutely no partition. When I'm interacting physically, offline, I'm very conscious of the way people will think about how I'm speaking to this sister, because we have a very strong community. And this is Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. This is extremely important. Extremely important, right? Very important. For example, I'll give an example. If we were to just rewind history a bit, my respected, maybe the elders will be able to relate to this, that when it came to the respect that a man would have towards somebody's wife, the levels of respect would be unbelievable. Subhanallah, so is beautiful Islamic, that for example, if one wants to deliver food to a particular house, this person would not even knock on the door if he knows that the man of the house is not in the house. If the woman is all by herself in the house, this person would leave the food outside the door. Our elderly brothers and sisters will be able to relate to this. But things are slowly changing. That barrier, even in the offline world, is beginning to disintegrate. The problem is, online there is no barrier. How I interact with the opposite gender when it comes to my hijab as a man, no one can regulate that. Absolutely no one is there to regulate. I'm not accountable to anyone. What I write, what I post, what pictures I post with somebody else, absolutely no one knows about it. Right? So the importance of extending our modesty and the morality that we practice in the offline world to the online world. Inshallah, I really wish there's a lot to discuss about this third point, but inshallah we can leave that for the coming session, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Muhammadin wa ali Muhammadin wa ajil farajam. If we look at the life of Syeda Zaynab salamullah alayha, my respected brothers and sisters, the platforms that Syeda Zaynab used to reflect what was real, to promote the truth, to expose the liars, was phenomenal. In the Battle of Karbala and what happened after that, that if it wasn't for what Syeda Zaynab did after the Battle of Karbala, you and I would have not gathered to remember the history of Karbala. Zaynab salamullah alayha used every single platform available to her to promote the truth. And I really feel, as a silent thought that I'd like to share, that if Syeda Zaynab salamullah alayha was with us today, she would be very active on her social media accounts in promoting the truth, in supporting the oppressed. Syeda Zaynab salamullah alayha, one of the things that she did, a very powerful platform, was she established the institution of Azadari. This black that we are wearing, to cover the walls in black, to have these latmiya and marasi' and nawhas and salams and make people cry, this was the establishment of Zaynab salamullah alayha. Because it reached people's hearts, it was that powerful platform. Not only that, Syeda Zaynab salamullah alayha used her speech, that very powerful platform, the only platform that she has, that when she stood up against the tyrants, she made them shake because of the words that reverberated with the truth. Zaynab salamullah alayha. We want to remember, inshallah, the musibah of Zaynab Salamullah alayha as well. And it's very difficult when we think of Zaynab Salamullah alayha, Ummul Masa'ib, the mother of all calamities. Zaynab Salamullah alayha, Zaynab As-Sabira, the patience of Zaynab Salamullah alayha. Where can one even begin to describe the musibah of Zaynab Salamullah alayha? Whenever we are talking about the musibah, my respected brothers and sisters, should we remember the time when Zaynab Salamullah alayha as a young child would have seen the wounded head of Imam Ali alayhi salam, of her father? What would a young child have experienced when seeing the wounded head of her father, Salamullah alayha, Amirul Mu'mineen? But it doesn't end there for Zaynab Salamullah alayha. When it comes to her beloved mother, Fatimatul Zahra Salamullah alayha, I can only imagine Zaynab hearing the wailing and the crying of Fatimatul Zahra because she would be talking about the pain in her ribs. The burnt house of Fatimatul Zahra and Amirul Mu'mineen. This is what Zaynab Salamullah alayha has experienced firsthand. We talk about the trauma that we experience, my respected brothers and sisters, when we look at images that are very painful. This is what Zaynab Salamullah alayha is experiencing firsthand. Imam Hassan alayhi salam, what would have Zaynab Salamullah alayha faced when she sees that even on the dead body of her brother, these ruthless, merciless, heartless individuals were throwing arrows at the body of her brother? And come to the tragedy of Karbala, when Sayyidah Zaynab Salamullah alayha whose heart was still filled for as long as Abu Abdullah alayhi salam was by her side. But we want to remember the last few moments on the day of Ashura, when Zaynab Salamullah alayha would look around and Abul Fadl al-Abbas had gone and had not come back. Qasim had already gone, and فَقَطَعُوهُ إِرْبًا إِرْبًا, and his body had been mutilated. Ali al-Akbar had gone, Zaynab had bid farewell to him, and he hadn't come back. Zaynab had just witnessed how the infant neck of Ali al-Asghar was severed. It now comes to a point where she hears Imam Hussein alayhi salam crying out, "Hal min nasirin yansuruni?" Is there anyone to help me? What would Zaynab Salamullah alayha have felt during this time? It is said the most painful part perhaps for Zaynab is when Imam Hussein alayhi salam comes to the tents for one last time and says, "Ya Zaynab, Ya Kulthum, Ya Sukaina, Ya Rabah, alaykunna minni salam." This is my last salam that I'm giving you. It is said that Zaynab Salamullah alayha says, "Mahlan, mahla akhi. Please slow down, don't rush." Why? What's the rush? Tazawwadu, so that we can look at your beautiful face. Please don't rush. And he said that Zaynab Salamullah alayha comes next to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. فَقَبَّلَ رِجْلَيْهِ وَيَدَيْهِ وَعُنُقِهِ. She begins to kiss the neck of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Zaynab starts kissing the hands and the feet of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When Imam Hussein asks Zaynab, "What are you doing?" she looks at Fatimatul Zahra salamullah alayha and says, "Mom, the promise that you had made to me, the trust that you had left with me to kiss the chest and the hands and the neck of Abu Abdullah, rest assured, Mom, I have now done it." The other painful moment for Zaynab Salamullah alayha was when Zuljana, the horse of Imam Ali alayhi salam, after a while, after a difficult battle, and Zaynab Salamullah alayha was trying to see what was going on to Imam Hussein, suddenly she sees that the horse is returning without its rider, and she cries out, "Wa Muhammadah, Wa Aliya, my backbone has gone, oh my Hussein has gone." And Zaynab Salamullah alayha rushes towards Tile Zainabiyya. What did Zaynab see from Tile Zainabiyya? What could Zaynab see? That this was a man sitting on the chest of Abu Abdullah Hussein. Wasn't this the same neck that Rasulullah used to constantly kiss? But this is the pain that Zaynab Salamullah alayha had to experience. Ala la'anatullahi ala al-qawmi al-zalimin. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. ماتم Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Zainab hai Sham, hai Zainab hai شام ہائے ہائے زینب ہائے ہائے شام ہائے ہائے زینب ہائے شام ہائے ہائے زینب ہائے 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 ہائے شام اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں 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 میں وارث تطہیر ہوں میں وارث تطہیر ہوں ناموں سے نبی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں بازار سے دربار میں لے آئے ہوں مجھ کو چاہوں تو جلا سکتی ہوں خطبوں سے میں تم کو صابر کی بہن ہوں جو میں خاموش کھڑی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں زندہ تھا تو دردی کے غمیں شاہی لڑے ہاں اب سر ہے تو ہونٹوں پہ چھری مار رہے ہو تم کتنے بہادر ہو میں یہ دیکھ رہی ہوں شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اور اس سے کٹھن وقت کیا ہوگا میرے معبود فضا کی طرفدار ہے دربار میں موجود میں پشت کے فضا پہ کھڑی دیکھ رہی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی زہرا کو بھی دربار میں تم نے تھا بلایا دربار میں بھی ہوں مگر فرق ہے اتنا پردے میں تھی وہ اور میں بے پردہ کھڑی ہوں شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی ہوں اے شام کے لوگوں میں بنت علی شام ہائے شام شام ہائے شام شام ہائے شام سمجھ کے زیادہ رام شام ہائے شام تیری امت کے زیور پہن کر تیری امت کے زیور پہن کر دیکھو نانا چلی ہوں میں شام شام ہائے شام شام ہائے شام شام ہائے شام میں دیتی کفن تجھ کو بھیا گر سر تیری دھا میرے ہوتی گر ہوتے کھلے ہاتھ میرے تیرے زخموں کو ہاتھوں سے دھوتی پابندے رسن سر بارے نا پابندے رسن سر بارے نا دیکھو بھیا چلی ہوں میں شام شام ہائے
جس زینب کو تم نے برات کبھی نظریں اٹھا کر نہ دیکھا، ہاتھ رسی سے میرے بندھے ہیں اور سر پر نہیں میرے پردہ، کیسے کوفے میں جاؤں گی غازی، کیسے کوفے میں جاؤں گی غازی، جب بلوے میں آئے گا نام شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے جیسے دربار پاس آ رہا ہے میرا دل ڈوبتا جا رہا ہے، ہمیں تو گھر میں بھی کم بولتی تھی، بھائی تم کو تو سب کچھ پتا ہے، کس طرح سے کرے گی بتا دے، کس طرح سے کرے گی بتا دے، ایک شرابی سے زینب کا شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے شام شام، ہائے رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی، کیا یاد علی کو آیا ہے بازار شام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی، کیا ماں کی طرح لینے تم کو مسجد میں چلی آئے زینب، کیا ماں کی طرح لینے تم کو مسجد میں چلی آئے زینب، بابا کو جا کے دو فضا میرا پیغام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، یہ پہلی فجر ہے زینب کی سجدے میں سکون ملتا ہی نہیں، یہ پہلی فجر ہے زینب کی سجدے میں سکون ملتا ہی نہیں، دل ڈوبتا ہے آتا ہی نہیں، ایک پل آرام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، اس غیرت دار کی غربت پر روتی گئی علی کی غربت بھی، اس غیرت دار کی غربت پر روتی ہے علی کی غربت بھی، 40 برس جو کہتا رہا شام شام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، رو رو کے علی کیوں لیتے ہیں زینب کا نام مصلی پر، وہ عابد بیمار تھا، وہ عابد بیمار تھا، چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شبیر کی اولاد لی شبیر کی اولاد لی آئے سینے پہ جو شاہ کے پلی سینے پہ جو شاہ کے پلی جس کی اباون میں جلے جس کی اباون میں جلے منہ پر تماچوں کے نشان مولا حق امام حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شام غریب آ گئی شام غریب آ گئی آئے عابد کو غیرت کھا گئی عابد کو غیرت کھا گئی پہرے پہ زینب آ گئے پہرے پہ زینب آ گئے عباس اور اکبر کہاں مولا یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین ہائے ہائے زینب ہائے ہائے شام 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 ہائے ہائے زینب ہائے محمد و آل محمد صلوات صلی علی
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين وعلى أخيك أبا الفضل العباس وأختك زينب وبنتك سكينة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليكم وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الحجة المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصل يا رب على محمد وآله الطاهرين.